So Toronto's condo market, of course, remains very sluggish, and we're seeing different things happening, different trends, different owners taking different approaches. On the one hand, we're starting to see a fair number of what I'll call distressed sales, condo sales that are significantly below what comparable units have sold for even over the past 6 to 12 months, 10 to 20% down. And on the other hand, we're seeing more owners just hold on. Condo owners that have listed their units for sale decided to pull them off the market and rent them instead. That's what I want to look at today. My name is John Pasalis. My team and I help buyers and sellers throughout the Toronto area make smarter real estate decisions. If you'd like to meet with me, my team, just click the link in the show notes below or shoot me an email at askjohn@movesmartly.com. Now, as always, every second Thursday of the month, I host a live monthly market update on YouTube. You can click the live link in YouTube. For those of you who are surprised by the uptick in sales for the July statistics from the Toronto Real Estate Board, you shouldn't be. I've been kind of talking about that on our live monthly market update. We've been seeing those trends on the ground. We've been seeing an uptick in buyer activity over the past couple months as more buyers are entering, specifically in the low-rise market. Now, this is not leading to bidding wars. Again, prices are actually still down year over year, but buyers are feeling a little bit more confident, taking advantage of softer prices in a softer market and are jumping in. But the condo market still does remain relatively sluggish, and that's kind of what I want to chat a little bit about today. As I mentioned, we're seeing some distressed sales. I'm going to try to unpack those probably in September once I finish some of the analysis. But today I want to talk about a trend that I've been noticing, which is more and more unit owners this year are deciding to just take their units off the market for sale and just rent them out. Now, this, of course, happens all the time. I mean, it's not specific to this year, but it seemed like that was happening more frequently this year than previous year. So I decided to look at the data to see if that is in fact the case. And I want to unpack some of those numbers today. So what I did was basically look at every condo that was listed for sale between January and June, first 6 months of this year compared to the first 6 months of last year. And then I said, okay, out of all these units that were listed for sale, how many actually sold? And how many of those units were just rented out instead? So this is kind of the analysis I took. A couple of things to keep in mind. The data I'm looking at is for the entire GTA. I'm only looking at condo apartments. When I talk about the number of new listings, if a unit has been listed 5 times, the same unit in the past 6 months or in the first 6 months of the year, I'm only counting it as one unique listing. So we're not double counting listings. And then the last thing I'll say is when I talk about rental statistics, again, I'm not talking about all rental data. I'm specifically only looking at out of all of these units that were listed for sale, how many of those were rented. So this is not an analysis of the rental market. It's specifically an analysis of people who tried to sell their unit, but subsequently decided to rent them out. So I'll kind of just touch on some of the high level statistics, show a chart at the end that kind of gives you a picture of what has happened. But overall, over this first 6 months of 2025, we had just over 27,000 condo apartments listed for sale. That is a 5.6% increase over last year when there was about 25,700. So slightly more condos listed for sale this year relative to last year. Now, when we look at the number of units that actually sold, we're actually down this year. Just over 10,000 units were actually sold this year in the first 6 months compared to 12,600 last year. So on a relative basis, sales are actually down 24%. The sales success rate, I should say, compared to last year. And this, of course, adjusts for the change in the number of new listings. Now, when we look at the rental market, again, the stats are also quite interesting. Last year, just over 3,500 units that were originally listed for sale ended up being leased. This year, it's just under 5,300. So the number of owners who abandoned selling and just leased instead is actually up 41% over last year, a relatively big increase. And to put that into perspective, this year in 2024, 2025, roughly 1 in 5 for sale condo listings ended up being rented compared to 1 in 7 last year. So, and on top of that, of course, we're seeing a very big drop in the number that are actually successfully selling. Now, this, of course, is all happening in an environment of softer rents and a soft rental market. But again, many of these owners are thinking, I'd rather settle for a soft rental market with the expectation that maybe 2, 3, 4 years from now, condo prices, the market will rebound. I'll sell in a stronger market, get a better price than I'm getting today. But of course, time will tell how long it takes the market to recover. And more importantly, if we continue to see more distressed sales in the condo market, will this drag prices even lower than they are today and when they were yesterday? And I think this is sort of course, the big risk that we need to be mindful of as we look at how the market evolves over the next 6 to 12 months. Something I'm going to be chatting about in future episodes. But again, I think the key trend is it's very interesting to see how different owners are taking different strategies. Some, of course, being distressed, needing to sell, but a lot of unit or an increasing number of owners just deciding to hold on and ride out this sluggish market. This is not entirely surprising. I think most Canadians are pretty bullish real estate, and some are just thinking, you know what, I don't want to sell in a soft market. And they're expecting the market to rebound. We'll see how that all plays out. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions or comments, please post them in the comments below or shoot me an email at askjohn@movesmartly.com.